What's up? Welcome to the channel. My name's Colin. Today's gonna be just a little bit different. I'm doing some work for a friend. She has the most beautiful table. The tabletop's like a cookie of a tree that's pretty fat, but the problem is that for her, she's a little smaller and the table sits really high on her. So we're gonna actually take off a bit from the three legs that come down. They're natural branches, as you can see in the B-roll. This is something I haven't specifically done before, but I have brought a whole assortment of tools and I have some ideas. So follow along as we kind of work through this and see if we can not mess up her table. So I'm so happy to have you guys join us. Let's get into it. So first we got to take the top off, and that'll just make things much easier to work with. And what we're finding is it has these little plugs that are put in just to cover up the heads of the screws. And there's screws that are conjoining the base with the top. So we're gonna take all these off, take the top off, and then we'll get into shortening everything. I'm hoping this should be enough to figure out this process. So I've got a 4-foot level, I've got a small torpedo level, I've also got a string line and a bubble level. I've got plenty of things to mark with, got my tool belt, gloves, chainsaw, helmet with ear protection, eyewear. I've got a grinder with a bunch of these like sanding discs. I've got 3 different grits, and I've got this sawzall with a couple different blades, and I got my square. So I'm thinking with this, we should be able to figure it out. I have this spot outside that we're going to be working with for actually doing our cutting and sanding and, trying to get it level. But we're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth from outside doing our actual like work, as well as coming inside the house. And we're going to be using the level floor here. So we're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth from checking our level here to leveling and working out here, if that makes sense. So we kind of chewed this over a little bit, and we had a few different options. I brought a bunch of different levels, and I was thinking, we're gonna find like our master leg that we're gonna go for our height, and we're gonna go with 8 centimeters to start off with. We're shooting for about 9, and we're using centimeters because we're in Mexico. And we're gonna go with 8, but because we're gonna be dancing around, shaving to make sure everything's level, that gives us some room to work with. So we're gonna have our master leg. So I'm gonna make a mark here, and then we have to transfer that mark to the other 2 legs. I was thinking about, transferring it using our 4-foot level and then using the torpedo level to transfer that around, but there's just too much room for error. And especially I want a nice consistent line around so that I can cut as, level as possible with my chainsaw. So we've settled on using a string line with a bubble level and our torpedo, as well as thumbtacks. So I think we're gonna get our mark, and we're gonna use our string line with the torpedo level and our bubble level, and I think then we'll mark it using, I've got 2 Sharpies. I've got, a fatter Sharpie as well as, a fine tip Sharpie. So I'll kind of see what works and looks the best. And I'm hoping that will give us a good starting point for getting our chainsaw marks to cut that. So let's get into time lapse and figure this out. So it was a little tricky because of the angle of these. I had only brought 3 thumbtacks, but luckily my friend Janet, she had plenty more. So we ended up having to do like 2 per leg to kind of keep the string from sliding up and messing with our level. And so I'm pretty happy with this. And I was getting real exact, but honestly, I'm gonna be using a chainsaw to cut this. So there's some room there, and then we're gonna be fine tuning using our other tools. So I'm gonna use my fine tip Sharpie to mark exactly where this line is, and then we're gonna cut with the chainsaw. I started off using the fine tip Sharpie, and it just was way too fine. I couldn't see anything, so I switched over to the fatter Sharpie, and that worked a lot better. So we got our marks, and like with that string, it was able to give me a nice mark all the way around. So that way with my chainsaw, I can get, I can see real well exactly where I'm gonna be cutting. So I think that should work out pretty well. So I didn't trust my line, and for some reason when I was chainsawing, I decided to just trust my eyeball, and that was a bad idea. So our lines are a little off, so I'm gonna have to play around with that some more. I should have just trusted my line, but I didn't. Live and you learn. So for me not trusting the line that I made, I did a sharper angle. I don't know why I thought I could trust my eyes, but so now it is gonna have like on this inside just a little bit higher. So I'm gonna now cut with the line, and I think that'll give us our level. I was checking level on the top of the stump here, but everything here is like pretty wonky. This was all kind of done with the chainsaw, so it's a hard read. So I'm gonna play with this, and we might even have to get the top of the table on it and to finally check where our level is. But unfortunately, because I didn't follow that line, I don't think each leg is gonna be flush entirely with the floor, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna do what I can to fix this, as long as the table's level. And I mean, this thing's solid. It's a madrone, so I mean, it shouldn't be an issue. So I'm gonna try to get as much contact as possible without taking out too much material, so that we can keep the table level and move on with our lives. Now we're just kind of doing a dance on like the level floor and seeing where our contact is. So these are looking a lot better, but here I used my Sawzall to cut, and since the blade's flexible, it kind of came out a bit. So we have a high spot. So I'm checking, so it's only touching here. So I just took my pencil and marked. So now I think I'm gonna use my angle grinder with the sander to kind of level everything out. And I'm also thinking I'm gonna use my speed square just as like a straight edge, so I can see where that hump is. Get that little humpy out of there. All right. So we were getting carried away trying to get everything perfect, and then we thought like we need to at least know what level is. So before we start getting everything, because I mean it doesn't wobble, everything seems pretty solid. Obviously there's only 3 points. So we're gonna put the table on, and we're gonna see where we're at to kind of go from there. Okay, let's see. How's she looking? Well, the levels, so the table's kind of got a bow to it, so
you got it judged.
So we're not even, so we've got contact here and we've got contact here. In this way we're looking, en esa dirección estamos bien.
Sí.
En esa dirección está difícil. Pero estamos bien, sí, mira, puedo empujar solo un poquito. Perfecto.
Sí, sí, sí. Nice and good.
Okay. Yeah. Pero nuestro contacto, it's like the only thing is like I don't know, you have to like look for it, but like the legs aren't all perfectly flush.
That's okay.
With the ground.
Nothing else in my house is flush.
So there you have it. The table is much lower, much more comfortable for eating. It even feels better for me. Janet, my friend, she's much happier. It is level, it's lower. So everyone's happy except for myself, just a little bit. I would have really liked to have those legs perfectly flush with the ground. And that's just because I didn't trust the lines that I had made. But I'm the only one that really seems to care about it, and I'll probably move on with my life and forget about it here shortly. But ultimately, I'm pretty happy. It looks pretty good. Thank you for tagging along. If you like that and want to continue seeing more of what comes about, please comment, like, subscribe. Once again, my name's Colin, and thanks for being with us today. Bye.